right, come on, Bob. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming in and sitting on this session. So this session is just for me to get an idea of how the session runs so that I can deliver it to a bunch of juniors to try and develop their game of golf. So thank you very much for volunteering, just sitting on this and giving me some positive feedback, hopefully, or negative feedback, so I can develop the course to suit that target age range. So we're going to talk about how to score low with respects to golf. I'll cover as our 5 key priorities. We'll understand those because we deliver lessons anyway. Quite extent we all understand, but if you think I talk unfairly to you, or then have a word of me. And if you talk unfairly to each other, then I'll have a word of you. Let's keep it a nice and friendly environment. Our refreshments, hopefully you're all suitably refreshed after your lunch. Anyone feeling a little bit, having that post-lunch sleepy head feel?
No, but I'm sure
Alex?
you can do your trick.
I probably will. Toilets, we know where the toilets are. Mobile phones and personal items, if you need to take a phone call, head on out. Personal items, just keep them on the desk. First aid equipment, it's downstairs in the office. Fire alarms and evacuation, there's nothing due, so if there is anything that comes, we shall react accordingly as we've discussed all the way through the week. Right, okay, so the aim is to reduce scores while playing golf. I'm going to make this as simple as possible so you can have an understanding of how golf is, what the object of golf is, and how to reduce the score. So you'll be able to define the principles of scoring whilst playing golf. Sorry, Pete, before I move on, can you see that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Explain why taking as few putts as possible can contribute to a low score, and demonstrate how to putt. So, Pete, have you ever played golf?
No, never done it.
Not even a crazy golf?
I've played crazy golf, yeah.
Not even a little putting thingy competition?
No, I don't know.
Years ago, couldn't get past unhooking or slicing balls, got frustrated.
With putting, you don't have to worry about hooking and slicing, unless you're that bad.
That bad.
Well,
Yeah, very recreational.
Josh, I know that you have, and they're probably getting back into it maybe when you get some more time. Conversations that we've had.
Children took it away from me, but I used to play a lot before kids.
Yeah. Alex?
I used to play, my goal was to get under 100 on a round, and I did that. And
Hopefully, but what I'm about to teach you today may be able to assist that a little bit more of a little bit of practice. Okay. So for me, I play golf. I'm a regular golfer, not a pro in any way, shape or form, but I found that my score is reduced by what I practice, and that is one of the areas that I practice. So what is the principle of golf? Anybody?
to get around the course in as few shots as possible.
That is it. Get the ball from the tee box into the hole, taking as few strokes as possible. So we're just going to do a quick demo. Or you want to take a ball out of the saucepan.
Lucky dip, is it?
Sorry, I haven't got one for you now. Unless you want, there's one in the bag down there if you want to have a go.
You can have more if you want. Oh, I always thought golf balls.
No. Right, so what I want you all to do, so you're on the tee box, that's the golf hole, so where you're sat is get that ball into that hole. Woeful. Woeful.
Oh.
Oh shit. Oh.
Right, so if we, now give you your ball back each.
Thank you.
So, Pete, I want you to put that ball into the saucepan.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
However you like. So, what you've just done is hit a big club off the tee with the first shot, and the second one is using the putter. A lot easier to control getting that ball in that hole from being closer to the hole, isn't it? So the idea of putting is that you are on a flatter surface. The ground conditions are pretty standard throughout. The ground conditions are standard throughout. There's less impact on the golf ball because you're not hitting it as hard. your body motion is a lot slower, so a full golf swing is a whole body all the way through, whereas a putt and stroke is just a small movement. So you take all of that up. So if we can control that part, we can make the ball go in the hole a little bit easier when we're closer. So tee par, we need to get from tee to green in regulation. Does anyone know what tee to green in regulation is? So they've come out with a golf course, is so many thousand yards, and they break it down into 18 holes. And they say the tee to green in regulation, what do they normally say, Josh?
2 shots and 2 putts.
Yeah, so it's 2 shots for your tee.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of half 4, but yeah.
But yeah, so they've broken a golf course down averagely to 18 holes. So they say that on average, throughout that golf course, every hole will be 4 shots to get the tee, to get the par rating. So it'll be 2 to get to the green, and then 2 putts, which they said is the 0 scratch golfer's standard. So if we're saying 18 holes at 4 shots, what is the sort of like standard par of a golf course?
72.
72, that fluctuates up and down depending on how many par 3s or par 5s. So a par 3, you're getting on the green in 1, getting down in 2. Par 5, you're getting down onto the green in 3, getting down in 2. But if you have more par 5s than par 3s, the par will be higher. More par 3s than par 5s, the score will be lower. Par will be lower.
So is that a rating for gauging what course
Yes.
level you
Then there's a whole nother load of calculations that have come in the last 5 years about how hard courses are.
Right.
So could you have 18 holes of 5 par?
You could do. What would that be, Bob? What par rating would that be?
Lots.
90.
90.
Whatever
90.
18 times 5 is.
So that'd be a 90 for a scratch golfer, ideally. In the same way, if it was a par 3 course, what would that be? Par 3, 18 holes of par 3?
54.
54. Principle's the same, on the green, in as few shots as possible, and in as fewer putts as possible, but they say 2 putts. So putting averages, so for a pro golfer, professional golfer, someone that's getting paid to play golf, or is being paid to play golf, is 1.8 per hole, 32 per round. Okay? So that's how that par 4 works out. Amateur golfer is 2.2 per hole, 40 per round. So if you're getting onto 18 holes with 2 shots, that's 36. Add your 40 putts, that's taking you to 76, which means that you're 4 over. Whereas a pro golfer is going to be 4 under par. Okay. So if you can reduce this number as an amateur golfer, I play off of 18. So that means I have 18 shots on top of that 72. So that means my aim is to get round in less than 90. Nick, what's yours?
Unofficially, probably about 28.
So that means Nick's got 100 shots to go round. You were saying 100, 28. That's the idea. So there's loads and loads of different information you can find on the internet. Pros, they tend to, so just talking in putting in particular, when you're hitting those big long shots, there's lots of things that can factor. Your ground condition that you stood in, your swing, your injury, clubs, there's a selection of clubs you can take, environmental conditions, weather, wind, but on a putting surface, they're normally flat, short grass, not much can impact the ball. That's the idea of a putting surface. So for a pro, what they're saying is from 4 to 8 feet, they get it in 86% of the times, then it goes away. There's no actual, further away they are, the harder it is to hit the shot. But if we compare that to Alex, there's your 100. So for you, from 15 feet away, they're saying that 9% of the time you're going to get that in that hole from 15 feet away. Compare that to a PGA Tour winner, he's going to be 32% of the time. So already that's how many times more? Roughly three times more. 5 foot is 43%. Pros are well over 75%, so they're going to get it in a lot more. So for us, down in this area, if we can improve our putting, we could be saving potentially a third of our shots around. So for you being 100, you could drop that down to maybe 86, 87 by taking less putts. My average is around about 29 putts around. So my putting's good. The rest of my game is shocking. So we're going to do a little practical session now. Who would like to volunteer to come up and have a go?
I'm happy to volunteer. Bear in mind I've never done it.
Come on then. So this is just a simple way of how you can better your putting. So you've never done putting before? What I want you to do with my putter, bear in mind, is anyone left-handed? Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
So anyone can have a go because it's a right-hand putter. My putter's a bit different than anyone else's because my grip, it's a wide grip,
Yeah.
so I'm going to have to hold the putter however you like. I want you to put that ball in that hole there.
Okay. Might want to move a bit to the right neck.
Put a helmet on.
Yes.
Have another go. Put another ball in the middle.
Comes back to you as well. Nice.
Sorry?
Comes back to you as well.
Then I'll just try and help to go through a few things to try and improve that.
Okay.
And then Dave, if you want to come up and have a go as well, please. Well, almost. So why do you think that didn't go in?
I went too hard, I think.
But what did you learn from the first time?
I didn't get hard enough.
Yeah, so it's all about practice and repetition,
Right.
getting it in your head and going through it. So try again. Right. Alex, you want to come up and have a go?
Yeah, Alex, should be able to do it.
We've got claw grip like me.
Oh.
And again, Alex. And Bob, sorry, you're not going to do this out on this one.
It was obviously a fluke.
Not hard enough. Anyone predict what he's going to do next?
Too
Yeah,
hard.
too hard.
See that one, did you?
That's pretty much wrong, didn't you?
Right, so let's just go over putting. The idea is with putting is that you have a nice stable stance. Okay, Pete, you were very much sort of like way over to one side,
Okay.
which is
yeah.
great for your long iron shots. But putting, everything's supposed to be try to be as neutral as possible.
Right, yeah. Not even realising I was doing that. So, yes.
And when you putt, your hands hang sort of like naturally as you bend over, grab the club, your hands hang naturally. So you're not trying to force anything forwards or backwards. So where your hands hang is the bottom of the arc of your swing. So if all this stays the same, you're just creating an arc. So ideally, you want to be hitting the ball at the bottom of the arc. Because if you hit the ball,
I see.
if you hit the ball at the back of the arc, what are you doing to the ball?
Pushing it down.
Into the ground. If you hit the ball at the top of the arc, coming back up,
Hitting it up.
hitting the top, you're going to create top spin in an irregular ball path. So ideally what you would do is getting the ball at the bottom of the arc, and get the ball at the bottom of the arc, and try to maintain the shape of that arc all the way through. Their flux, they should have missed quite drastically. But another thing that you need to do is make sure that this motion is going in a straight line, as opposed to coming back and across, because what's going to happen is the ball
Yeah,
go that way. If you're going that way, the ball's going to go that way. You need to keep your hands as straight as possible because you don't want the twist of the club. So a way to practice that. So it's as easy as a couple of sticks. And the ball in the middle. Now what you're doing is just keeping your putt and stroke in between those two sticks without hitting. Because as soon as if I start to twist, I'm going to hit those sticks. So that's the idea behind it. Pete, do you want to come up and have a go?
Yeah.
As the non-golfer.
Okay.
So try and get your stance right, shoulder width apart, a little bit closer together, feet a little bit closer together.
Yeah.
And just bend over and hang your hands. And then all you do is you just grab the club with your hands, and then that's the bottom of your arc.
Okay.
So because this club's a little bit long for you, you need to take a little step away. And now the club is sat on the floor.
Right. I
So
see.
all you,
Yeah.
yeah, so all you're going to be doing is coming back and going through.
Okay. I can't even go back without.
So that went straight through the middle. Another ball.
Okay.
And then what you need to think about is pace.
Okay.
So now we've got the general putt and stroke, we need to think about pace. So you were going quite far then with that putt because there's no target. So if I put a target down with a glove, and I want you to stop the ball at the glove.
Okay.
Too hard.
Yeah.
Just stop
Just
it.
twisted a bit, and then.
Yeah, just stop it. Literally just.
I've seen just before.
Yeah. And this is something you can work on, is getting that pace, how that works. That better?
Bit too hard.
A little bit too hard. But now what we do is we go back to the slope. You've had a couple of efforts, so we can go see how you get on with this. So,
Similar
thing.
setup. Okay. Helps if you knock it closer as well.
Oh, a little bit harder. So golf is all about doing something. So Dave, this is ideal for your learning style. Do something, learn it, improve it. Look at that.
Oh, well.
Go again.
Got to prove it's not a fluke.
That was a fluke.
Off the backboard.
Why did that happen? Do you know what
Because
that
I
happened?
twisted, didn't I? I
Just
moved
like
out
one
that
more.
way, going off of what you're
One more.
teaching earlier.
Oh,
Not quite.
good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pete. Sit back down. Yeah, so they're just a couple of little practice methods. You do this in your own home, your own sitting room, just to get used to the use of your putter. Again, like Pete's lesson we had earlier on, is equipment is key. This putter was fitted for me, so it's my putter. It's the right length for me. It's the right setting at the bottom, so it doesn't cause too much, and it's the right weight for me. So I tried about 20 putters before I purchased this one. 13 years ago. It's the oldest club in my bag. In the same way, you probably got stuff that you really, really like using, that you're still using now, that you wouldn't change.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the same for me. So any questions on that aspect of it, of that practice scenario type thing?
Yeah. So you putter that I've used in the past with the Crazy Golf that we
Yep.
spoke about, it didn't have that big metal bit on the back.
Right, okay. So, you know when you were doing that putt and it went,
Yeah.
what I found with my putting was that my hands were doing that naturally,
Okay.
because I had a shoulder injury and my right hand couldn't keep it straight. So I found out that by having better perimeter weighting,
It's all about weight distribution.
that I can maintain that straight through, follow through with the putt.
Okay.
There are putters, different clubs that you can putt with, depending on the conditions. So this is a hybrid club. And you'll see that if this will just jump off the ground a little bit. It just jumps off the ground because of the angle on the face of the putter, just lifts it up. And what I do is clear any rubbish that's on the ground. So there are different types of putters for different scenarios, or different clubs you can use. Yeah, any other questions? Anyone else want to go? No? Okay, so what we're going to be doing is going forward, what we're going to do is we're going to go practice this out on a big putting green, and a big putting green has lots and lots of different slopes and undulations and bits and pieces. So what we've got to do is we've got to start to think about reading the lie of a putt. So when we talk about reading the lie of a putt, what do we think that means?
How the ground is shaped.
Yeah.
If it's level, leaning
Yeah.
off to one side. If you're
Yeah.
putting uphill, downhill,
So if we're going to putt uphill, what we've got to consider?
how hard you hitting it.
Yeah, so if we're putting uphill as opposed to the flat, what would we be doing?
Harder.
Harder. If we're putting downhill compared to uphill, compared to flat, what would we be doing? Less. But what about if the grass is cut towards you?
I
I'd
guess
take it
harder.
Harder because it got friction against the ball.
Yeah.
If you imagine the grass is cut that way, the ball wants to roll over it, it's going to create friction. What if it's cut the other way?
Less.
Yeah, then
Less.
it's fine.
If there's a massive slope left to right,
Yeah, start it up the hill.
up the hill to come back down. What about if it's left to right but also uphill?
Harder.
Harder and
curvature.
further. So it could be, you could go 3 or 4 different routes to the hole. You could go right the way up the hill and come back down. You could angle it in. There is a rarity on the golf course where it could be angled left to right and uphill with a downhill, which means you actually aim, it will track up the hill, depending on where the grass is cut. And there's other things like pitch marks and stuff on there that you need to do. But fundamentally, putting is where you can control your shots. You've got more control over that putting stroke as opposed to big full body movement using all your big muscles. All you do is it's using, you 3 probably felt it, it's just a little muscle that you just, little movement, isn't it? So, define the principles of scoring when playing golf. So, Pete, give us one of the principles of scoring when playing golf. What is the idea behind it?
Trying to get the ball from the tee box
Yes.
to the
Bottom of the hole.
hole in as few shots as
Yeah.
possible.
And that's where golf is a bit weird than other recreation activities, is that golf, you've got to do it in as least, try to get the lowest number, whereas things like archery and shooting, you've got to get the highest number. Yeah, so that's one. Alex, another one? Principle of scoring?
The par.
Yeah.
Is that what you're on about?
Yeah, so what was a par? Can anyone give me a guess on what standard golf is?
So it works on the principle that there's 2 putts once you're on the green.
Yeah, 2 putts which are on the green.
The remaining shots is what you take to get to the green.
So by taking fewer putts as possible, you can get a lower score. Can I remember what average putts an amateur golfer takes on a golf course?
1.8.
No,
2.2.
2.2. So they say in
Oh, sorry,
around, yeah. So they're saying around about 40 putts around. So if you can get that number down to 30, you've taken 10 shots off. No matter what's happened in between the green and the tee, because of all that other trees, birds, rabbit holes, playing partners, kicking your ball or whatever, all that stuff. Take that out of the equation, construct the pattern. It's an easier way to control your score. And we demonstrate how to putt. So, nothing further. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.